साक्षात् परब्रह्म.
After the demise of Sri Ramakrishna in 1886, his disciples needed a place to meet and meditate. It materialized in a dilapidated house taken at a very low rent, now known as Boranagar Mutt. The Mutt was soon shifted to yet another rented house at Alam Bazar and then again at Nilambar Mukherjee's garden house at Belur. Meanwhile, during this period, young Narendranath emerged as Swami Vivekananda. His success story at the World's Parliament of Religions at Chicago in 1893 mesmerized the nation. After winning over the attention of the East and the West, Swami Vivekananda turned his attention to plan his dream temple of Sri Ramakrishna. He was not a trained architect and thus had to depend on his brother disciple, Swami Vijnananda, to draw a plan of such a temple based on his ideas. 33 years after Swamiji's demise in 1902, the construction of the Belur Mutt temple started in 1935. Swamiji visualized a temple that will represent Sri Ramakrishna's unique message that all religions lead to the same God. Elements of Christian, Buddhist, Islamic, and Hindu architecture are freely utilized in designing this architectural milestone. Architectural importance of the Belur Mutt temple lies in its ability to express such an idea. Joto mat, toto path. All religions lead one to the same God. The facade of this temple faintly recalls a gopuram that is the hallmark of the traditional Dravida temple architecture of the south of India. The horseshoe-shaped arch, supported on double pilaster at each end, is very similar to the entrance gateway of the Buddhist cave temples in Ajanta and Kale. This Buddhist arch of the main gate also shows a scroll ending at each end that resembles the main gateway of the Sanchi Stupa. The emblem of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, originally conceived by Swami Vivekananda himself, fills the inside of the horseshoe opening in a very dignified approach. And a Shiva Lingam, sculpted by Nandalal Bose, complements the entrance gate composition. The pavilion at the top suggests the contours of roof patterns found in the palaces of Rajasthan, but at the same time, its chhajas also resemble Bengal terracotta temples. The three scalloped arches of the central pavilion at the top are beautifully balanced with the large main arch below. 9 beautiful domes recalling Saracenic style, and the central dome resembling Italian Renaissance architecture surmount the sanctum. Its design is based on Bengal's Navaratna temple tradition. In traditional Hindu temples, the Garbhagriha is kept apart from the Nat Mandir, in which the deity is kept isolated and viewable only through a small door opening. In Belur Mutt, the Garbhagriha is kept open on all 3 sides, allowing a clear view of the deity during circumambulation and thus charts a new avenue of Indian temple architecture. This floor plan also bears a close resemblance to the symbol of the cross in Christian churches. There is a 10-foot wide passage for circumambulation of the Garbhagriha. Over the Islamic arches of the circumambulatory passage is placed the 9 planetary deities as guardians of the main deity inside, which is reminiscent of traditional Kalinga temple architecture. Nandalal Bose did the design of these 9 planetary deities, and his style has added the needed innovative touch of the present generation to represent a continuity of artistic style. Design of its interior is no less interesting. Here the Nath Mandir becomes the congregational hall and, like Christian churches, is joined together with the Garbhagriha. Its close similarity with the Buddhist Chaitya hall at Kale, with rows of pillars on either side, is another interesting example of fusion of different styles. Its bow-shaped roof above also recalls Buddhist architectural tradition in clear terms, while the veranda on both sides of the inner wall has drawn heavily from Rajasthani and Mughal architectural styles. In the building of this prospective temple and mutt, I have the desire to bring together all that is best in Eastern and Western art. I shall try to apply in its construction all the ideas about architecture which I have gathered in my travels all over the world. I have these ideas in my mind, and if I live long enough, I shall carry them out. Otherwise, future generations will try if they can do it by degrees. The effect of the Belur Math temple soon after its consecration in 1938 was electrifying. Swamiji's vision of unifying the best elements of architectural heritage of past civilizations of the East and the West now materialized in Belur Math temple, paving the way for many more temples of Sri Ramakrishna that used the same principle of fusion. It started with the New Delhi Center's temple that was consecrated in 1957. Vrindavan Center was consecrated by Swami Vireshwarananda in 1973 and did not deviate much from the Belur Math model. Rajkot Temple, on the other hand, has introduced sculpted panels and motifs to decorate its elevations and facades. And this sets it apart from other centers that follows the Belur Math model. Architecture of the temple at Mission's Devghar Center, however, has several interesting features, even though it also followed to some extent the Belur Math model. This center is known for its educational activities, and the temple architecture attempts to incorporate this idea by introducing a Gothic sharpness to its round domes, which symbolizes fearlessness and valor. Decoration of its ceiling in the prayer hall has lotus-shaped decorations that also symbolizes knowledge and wisdom. Temples of Rajkot, Guwahati and Devghar centers, in quick succession, establish the popularity of the Belur Math model. Several temples in the southern states of India, starting with Hyderabad, further established the same. I. Venkateshwara Reddy is a well-known architect in India and has designed many temples of the mission in Hyderabad, Madurai, Rajamundry, Vishakhapatnam, Chennai and Nagpur. In Madurai, Nagpur and Chennai, we find Sri Reddy achieving a distinctive style of temple architecture by incorporating a barrel-shaped roof of Buddhist origin for the Natamandira. For his front facade, Sri Reddy uses a grand staircase of European origin while emphasizing link with Belur Math model by using a Navaratna element for the main dome. It was at Chennai that we find Sri Reddy realizing the true potential of his self-developed style. The whole structure of its gateway is designed in chaste Vijayanagar style belonging to the Dravidian idiom of temple architecture. Synthesizing various features of the European cathedrals and some suitable motifs from Hindu temples shaped the front facade for the temple. The central stairway of this temple lands in the wide colonnaded portico through which devotees will have to enter the prayer hall. 4 ornamental columns rising to a height of about 20 feet support this portico, which assumes the role of a Mukhamandapam of the traditional Hindu temple. The Vimana over the Garbha Mandira soaring up to a height of 102 feet, is the climax of this majestic temple. It is a good example of Navaratna temples in Bengal and also bears resemblance to the concepts of Tritala Vimana belonging to the Dravida idiom of temple architecture.
Lakshmi Baramma
On the two sides of the main stairway, in Nagpur temple, two elegant pavilions resembling the mandapas bear Pallava heritage.
Lakshmi Baramma Baramma Baramma
The features of the central dome in Nagpur temple is kept similar to that at Belur, while the features of the smaller towers at the four corners of Garbha Mandira are shaped like pyramidal roof over square mandapas that are typical of the Nagara style of the Vidarbha region.
Baramma Baramma
In Nagpur, Sri Reddy uses Madurai model, but with more elaborate ideas of ornamentation to create a more magnificent edifice based on his own ideas of fusing Belur Math model with local architectural heritage.